Good evening. My name is Keith Shapiro, and I'm the chairman of the Chicago office of Greenberg Traurig, and I am your event chair this evening. First of all, I want to thank you for all of you for your generous support of the ADL and for participating in this evening's dinner. By doing so, you are helping to support the vital work of ADL to fight discrimination and hate in all of its forms. The Anti-Defamation League, as many of you may be aware, was founded in 1913, and its mission at that time, I'll quote it, was to stop defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment for all. Now the nation's premier civil rights and human relations organization, ADL fights anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, defends democratic ideals, and protects civil rights for all. That's a good thing. So ADL does many things, but this dinner focuses on the ideals that we hold most dear in this country. When you think of what goes on in the world every day, and even the public discourse and the polarization that goes on here domestically, we should be even more grateful for the freedom and the democracy that we enjoy in this country every day. And tonight, we celebrate the 11th anniversary of this very special Freedom Award event. Over the years, we have honored some amazing individuals and businesses at this dinner, and this night is no different. As you will hear at much greater length during the course of the evening, Jack Butler and John van der Linden are extraordinary men who stand for everything that this organization is all about. On a personal note, I'd like to share with you, for those of you who, some of you know this from our professional endeavors, but for those of you who don't, Jack has been my friend, my buddy, for most of the 33 years that I have practiced law. I will tell you firsthand from being in the trenches with Jack over the years that there is no one that I know that relished the thought of being on the other side of an adversarial battle with Jack Butler. This man was always meticulously prepared, fearless, determined, and tireless in achieving his client's goal. He's the most relentless, determined man I've ever met, friends. He is the main reason why companies like Kmart are still alive today. Jack, I'm not sure we did the world a favor on that one. He's the reason I think that American Airlines and US Air are one company today, and on in his accomplishments. Jack and John are not only professional role models, as you're going to hear later on tonight, but these guys are role models as parents, and I admire them for that as well, needless to say. So, very special night. You're going to hear a lot more about them as we go on, and later after dinner, they're going to receive the 2016 Jerold S. Solovy Freedom Award, and you're going to hear a lot more about some of the great things going on at the Anti-Defamation League. The Freedom Award is named after someone very special to the ADL and to me, and that's the late Jerry Solovy. Jerry believed deeply in the mission of ADL, and we are very grateful that his family is here carrying on his legacy. Jerry's wife, Kathleen, is here tonight. Thank you, Kathleen, for continuing Jerry's legacy by supporting this dinner in such a significant way. I'm going to tell you a little more about that and introduce you to Kathleen later this evening, but for now, thank you, Kathleen. Finally, a special thank you to the sponsors that made this evening possible. It would not have happened, especially in the beautiful way that it's come together, without you. And another big thanks to the board members of the ADL who are here this evening. If whoever's in the room from the ADL board, could you stand up for a moment? Thanks to all of you for your support. And now I'd like to call up ADL's Regional Board Chair, Barbara Edelman, for a few remarks. Barbara.
Thank you, Keith, and good evening, everyone. First, I want to extend my congratulations to our honorees, Jack Butler and John van der Linden, as well. and I'd like to thank all of you for being here this evening. I want to extend a very special welcome to Israeli Consul General to Chicago, Aviv Ezra. Could you please stand? Aviv, we hope this is the first of many, many ADL events that you'll attend during your stay in Chicago. I'd also like to extend my special thank you to Kathleen Solovy, who has done so much over the years, each and every year, for making this event possible. Kathleen, thank you so much. Before I actually start my remarks, I would like to offer another thank you. The ADL staff, as always, has worked extremely hard to make this evening such a successful event. And I'm not going to go through all the names, but I do want to mention one person in particular, and that is Sally Arnold. Sally has worked so hard on this and other ADL dinners for so many years, and I've had the pleasure of working with her very closely on some of them and becoming friends with her. I certainly hope this is not her last Freedom Award dinner, but it will be her last as a staff member. So Sally, thank you for your professionalism, for your hard work, and just for doing everything that you do. Sally. And don't yell at me afterwards for calling you out. So it is an honor and a privilege for me to stand here this evening as the ADL Regional Board Chair. Even though I'm so deeply involved in the ADL, both in our region and nationally, my commitment is only strengthened as I see firsthand the importance of our work and our ongoing fight to ensure that all people are treated fairly and with respect and with dignity. I know many of you don't know very much about the ADL, so I want to tell you just a little. The ADL was founded 103 years ago in Chicago to, as Keith said, fight the defamation of the Jewish people and secure fair treatment for all people. That was our mission 103 years ago, and it is our mission today, and it will remain our mission. How do we do this? We do it through our work in various areas. First, education. We have anti-bias, anti-bullying, and cyberbullying programs in the schools. We are doing campus outreach and increasing those efforts related to the BDS movement. And we have a signature program, No Place for Hate. We also work closely with law enforcement, where the ADL is the foremost non-governmental organization in the US that offers law enforcement training in terrorism, extremism, and hate crimes. We have trained well over 100,000 federal, state, local, and military law enforcement officers. And we use our voice publicly to stand up when we see injustice in our midst. For any of you who would like to become involved or who would like more information about the ADL, please just give your contact information to any staff member who's here or to me, and we'll reach out to you and get you more information. I don't have to tell you that we've just turned maybe the first page on a long, bitter, and vitriolic presidential campaign, but I think that the hard work has just begun. I'm so proud that throughout the campaign, the ADL did not remain silent and spoke out publicly. Yes, thank you. It took courage, and we spoke out publicly when misstatements, hatred, and lies were spewed, regardless of the candidate or political party. We know all too well what can happen when we are silent, and we most surely have our work cut out for us now. Although it is easy to worry about the future of the country, and I will say I'm worried about the future of the country, what you will see and hear this evening will be truly inspirational. Keith will provide more details, but you will meet junior high and high school student art and essay contest winners from throughout the Chicago area, as they tell us through their work what the First Amendment of the United States Constitution means to them. How much more relevant could that be than it is now? And this makes me optimistic that our world can and will move forward. So congratulations to each and every one of the student winners. You, your families, and your teachers should, and I'm sure are, so very proud of what you've accomplished, and I want you to know that we are as well. Now I'd like to ask you to turn your attention to the video screens, where we will be showing a very short piece that was first introduced in 2013 when the ADL celebrated its 100th anniversary and the launch of a campaign, Imagine a World Without Hate. This video is certainly no less relevant now than it was 3 years ago. As you watch the video, imagine what more these individuals could have contributed had they not been the victims of bigotry, hate, ignorance, and extremisms. And I will tell you, because everyone I know who's ever seen this video wants to see it over and over again, you can access it very easily. Either visit adl.org or Google ADL Imagine. So I'd like to thank you again for coming, and please enjoy the rest of the evening.
Good evening. My name is Wes Smedley. A very, very special privilege for my wife Lori and me to be here tonight. We're friends with Jack and John, and I'm the minister at their church, St. Chrysostom's Episcopal Church. On a personal note, John and Jack are both mentors to me, as well as leaders in the church community. So just incredibly special to be here tonight. Just a word before the invocation. Episcopalians are a peculiar people for several reasons, but one of them is that we ask ourselves a peculiar question many times a year, sometimes 1 or 2 times a month, and that is, will you respect the dignity of every human being? And the answer that we are chided and encouraged to say is, we will with God's help. And John and Jack are 2 people and their family who have integrated the respect of the dignity of every human being into all parts of their life. And that is the thing that I respect most about them. So with that said, let me offer a prayer. If you would, I'll say, the Lord be with you, and you say, and also with you, if you feel like it. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious living God, thank you for sending leaders into our midst. Most especially tonight, we thank you for the leadership of John and Jack. We thank you for creating us male and female in your own image. Grant us grace fearlessly to contend against evil and to make no peace with oppression, and that we may reverently use our freedom. Help us to employ it in the maintenance of justice in our communities and among the nations, to the glory of your name and for your love's sake. Amen.
I'm Rabbi Deborah Newman-Kamen, and I've been honored to be at many of these dinners, and tonight feels really special to remember the common values that we share in the First Amendment. In just a moment, I'm going to offer the blessing over the bread, which in Hebrew we call hamotzi, and it's a blessing that Jewish people say, we're supposed to say before we eat bread, and it's an interesting blessing in that we say, blessed are you, our God, who has, I should ask for the Jewish people, how does it end? Who has brought forth bread from the earth. So, of course, we know that actually God doesn't bring forth bread from the earth, that we don't pick loaves of bread. God brings forth wheat from the earth, and some brilliant person in ancient times figured out that from those grains you could make something that everybody could eat, except for now with carbs. but mostly everybody eats and sustains the world. And our sages have suggested that what is so special about this prayer is not just that we're offering gratitude to God, but that it takes a partnership between God, who provides the raw materials, the wheat, and human beings who take that wheat and make it into something that people can eat. It's that partnership of the human and the divine that enriches and nourishes in the entire world. And so we've been given these wonderful institutions and traditions of our democracy, but it's only the people together, and there are so many people in this room that work to make it a reality and fulfill it every day. That's the divine partnership. So for those of you that know the Motzi, please feel free to join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
So after a study came out a few years back that showed that 75% of high school students did not understand how the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution affected their lives, we knew that ADL could do something to help. The First Amendment Essay and Art Contest began when the ADL and Chicago newspapers decided to partner with the support of Greenberg-Traurig to teach Chicago area students about the First Amendment. ADL assembled a curriculum that is electronically distributed at no cost to educators across the community who sign up for the program. Specifically, the curriculum is in place to guide teachers in talking about the First Amendment in class, in providing real-world examples for the students, and in giving them scenarios where the students can be creative and interactive in the classroom in dealing with the First Amendment. Even more exciting, ADL has determined that they're going to upgrade and update the curriculum over the next year, so next year students will have yet an even better version of this curriculum to work with. As part of this program, 7th and 11th graders submit essays and pieces of art to describe and portray how one or more of the 5 First Amendment powers affect their daily lives. And it's a very specific essay contest. It's not writing about what the First Amendment says or what it's supposed to do. It's a very intimate, personal essay about how the First Amendment affects these kids in their everyday lives. And the things that they put together are incredible. Now, when this program began in 2006, we received 160 entries, 190, excuse me. We're excited to report this year that we received 1,500 entries from the students. Thank you. The judging for this contest is an incredible process with 1,500 entries, but by the final pass at these essays, we have a group of judges that are made up of leaders from the judiciary, from government, from businesses in town, from law firms, leaders of firms. It's an incredible group of highly educated folks, people from the press. We've got a major member of the Chicago Tribune, for example, that's on there. These are really shy people and very fearful people of speaking their minds, as you could imagine. It's a Donnybrook when they get in the room. They are passionate. They fight about the papers. They're worried about the grammar. They're worried about everything. Then the lawyers in the room want to know the intent of the drafters of the rules as they go through this, as you could imagine. It's really fun. We all know it's going to take a lot of time every year when we get in the room, but when everybody gets there, it's the best day of the year for those people in the room. You'll see in a moment the kinds of things that we get to read and to see. So I mentioned earlier this evening Kathleen Solovy. Kathleen, can you stand for a minute or so while I chat, if you don't mind, please? So do not sit down for a couple seconds here. Kathleen, hang in there. So each winner tonight is going to receive a generous scholarship, thanks to Kathleen, $5,000 for the first place winners and $1,000 for the second place winners. We hope that these scholarships will assist the students in their academic journey, and are so thankful to Kathleen for making these scholarships a reality by recently creating a $250,000 endowment for this program. This endowment, thank you. This endowment ensures that the ADL First Amendment curriculum will be taught for years to come in this community. And Kathleen, both personally and on behalf of the ADL, you have really honored Jerry by this endowment, and we all in this room can't thank you enough. Now it is my pleasure to call on the 4 first-place winners. They look like a choir. I asked them if they were going to sing tonight. The 4 first-place winners and the 4 second-place winners from both categories, from the essays and from the art category, to step up here. We're going to start off with the first-place winner in the high school essay contest, and that is Gina Kim. Gina, come on up.
Hi, my name is Gina Kim. I go to Glenbrook South High School. I'm an 11th grader, and I was the first place winner in the high school category for the essay competition. As a child, I earnestly believed that I lived as 2 strikingly different people, an American girl and a Korean Sonya. Returning home from a day at school meant leaving my English at the door with my shoes. And though nobody ever told me so, I thought my duty as a daughter of immigrants was to leave my American identity at the door as well. Despite their apparent disparity, both cultures contributed a great deal to my upbringing. Korean culture gifted me with a quiet reverence for the past. I was raised on ancient folklore and history, retold from the comfort of the family room couch. Meanwhile, my American upbringing taught me to value my voice and its potential to spark change. I learned this strength from the movements thriving around me. As I turned into current events promoting a deeper appreciation and respect for women and people of color, I became aware of America's dedication to the pursuit and celebration of social progress. I traced these movements through American history, winding through Dr. King's dream and Jane Addams' Hull House. I saw that the struggle to protect human dignity has always thrived in this country, rooted deeply within the principles of American democracy and embedded in the Bill of Rights and its promise to protect free speech and redress grievances. American politics and progress excited me, but a stronger focus on my American identity began to distract me from the Korean part of myself that I equally cherished. Keen to stay connected to the culture I loved, I began to work with a nonprofit Asian women's organization. It was here that I first heard the phrase, comfort women. Intrigued by a part of Korean history I had not known, I ardently pursued the issue. And I learned that comfort women were the young women and girls forced into sexual slavery for the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II. After the war concluded, the Japanese government destroyed large swaths of evidence of their human rights violations. And to this day, the government refused to recognize the victims and survivors. As a young woman already passionate about women's rights and as a Korean seeking her culture, I was incredibly moved by the story of the comfort women and their decades-long pursuit of justice and public acknowledgement. So I began distributing petitions at community events, collecting signatures for the official acknowledgement of the comfort women. But petitions could only do so much, so I decided to establish a volunteer organization to promote awareness just beyond signatures. We hosted street concerts and held exhibitions of artwork created by comfort women survivors. And eventually, I felt a desire to move beyond my hometown and join the heart of the movement in South Korea. So this was how I found myself traveling straight from a 13-hour flight into the heart of downtown Seoul on a rainy afternoon to take part in the weekly Wednesday demonstrations. Heart pounding with the rain against my umbrella, I felt my American upbringing leap to my throat as I stood before the Japanese embassy. I was not there to celebrate my culture or learn its folklore. I was there to fight for my history. I was there to ensure that these women's stories were not forgotten or erased. For the first time, my Korean identity and my American sensibility seemed to meld within me rather than simply coexist. I had gone through much of my life thinking that the girl who ate rice for breakfast and spoke Korean with her parents was not the same girl who brought home grass-stained soccer shorts and chattered in rapid English with her friends. But that afternoon, I could see that this was not the case. Joined by 200 other voices under the shelter of our umbrellas, I realized that it was one girl, not 2, who cried, "We will stand for justice, yesterday, today, and tomorrow."
I am Fiona Baborsi. I am a 7th grader from Elgin Academy, and I am the first place winner of the middle school essay category. A day in the life of the free. Sunday morning. Out of bed, I wake a free person. In the car, driving in the empty streets, the asphalt whizzes past. People are at church, but I am not. I don't have to be. Freedom of religion. Walking in town, a group of people is gathered. Signs are hoisted high. Clinton, Trump, walls, equality. I could grab a sign, but I don't. Not today. Freedom to peacefully assemble. Monday, in class, transgender rights is mentioned. I raise my hand. I voice my opinion without being punished. I don't fear for my safety, as many in this world may. Freedom of speech. Coffee shop. Grab the most recent paper. Black ink smudges my fingers. Large bold letters state, Black Lives Matter movement. Bodies in the streets, names engraved into stone slabs. The article tells the truth. Freedom of press. Paper on a clipboard, passed from door to door, trying to make a difference, to gather people for a cause. My right of pen to page, expressing emotion that catches people's eye. As names collect on the inked lines of those who believe the same as I. Yet of course, I am not required to do this. I could just leave it be, but I can if I want to. Freedom to petition. Now imagine walking in the shoes of those tucked away in the corners of the world where the other cheek is turned. Ground is painted crimson red, never able to look ahead on the future you deserve. Stuck inside of the cages that others force upon you. But you aren't. And those rights, those freedoms, free us from ourselves. And you need be grateful that your lives no longer lay in another's hand.
I'm Caitlin Jaffe, and I'm a senior at Glenbrook North High School, and I am the first place winner for the high school art category. The freedom of expression affects my daily life as a creative individual. When I want to make a statement, I feel held back by the restrictive social norms of the high school environment. The social pressure from others forces me to change the way I make basic decisions, including how I look and what I say. The girl in the piece is a representation of myself and all the other kids who have suffered from bullying and intolerance. Her skin is being torn apart as her innermost expressions are erupting from her soul, portrayed in the form of colors and shapes. The crude medical text that gushes from her cuts are representational of the harsh realities of life, the horrible decay of humanity that comes with the oppression of others' rights, sometimes through violence and terror. She's being torn apart physically and mentally by her trapped feelings and restrictiveness of others. We keep our expressions locked away, but if we don't share feelings with others, how can we improve society and draw awareness towards social issues? Although living in the United States gives me the freedom of self-expression as defined by the law, the right to be myself will always be violated by judgment and social restrictions. I want to feel like I have the advantage of this freedom to be myself and share my feelings. Everyone should recognize and support the basic right of everyone to be themselves. Expression in art is a part of being human, and it is what distinguishes us from other species. Thus, the violation of expression is a violation of humanity.
Good evening. My name is Ricardo Garcia. I'm an 8th grader at Connery Junior High School, and I'm the first place winner in the art contest in middle school. My artwork represents freedom. specifically freedom of speech, religion, and just freedom itself. The person in the artwork is wearing a necklace. On the necklace are the three major religions: Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. On my drawing, I drew a broken chain symbolizing that the male is free. Where the break of the chain is, I painted yellow, making it stand out. I painted the hand so people know that's what the drawing is about, which is why it is a different color than the face. The facial expression on the character shows that he was struggling and wanted to be free. The open mouth represents the freedom of speech. I painted the background red, white, and blue, symbolizing the United States. Lastly, I drew the American eagle. The American eagle symbolizes liberty and freedom.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Sohela Sayeda, and I'm a junior at Niles West. I won second place in the high school category essay. I have a freedom. I have a freedom. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This is the First Amendment. This is my right. This is a privilege, and why do I have to fight? I have a freedom. I'm a Muslim American girl. I have rights given to me. No fighting or sacrifice. With the privilege of being born in America, I am not running for my life. I can practice my religion freely, but really, can I? I have a freedom to wear my hijab, to speak my opinions, to pray my prayers, yet people ignorantly question why I wear so many layers. I have a freedom to be who I want to be, to do what I want to do, to say what I want to say. But do I still have this freedom today? We have a freedom. As a Muslim, Christian, or Jew, Sikh, Buddhist, or Hindu, we have a right that can soon be taken away. We have a privilege to perform the prayers we pray, the sermons and khutbahs, Friday prayers at the mosque, Sundays at church, Saturdays at the synagogue. We have a freedom. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This is our First Amendment. This is our right. This is our privilege. And why do we have to fight?
My name is Kayla Rasmussen. I go to Elgin Academy. I'm in 7th grade, and I'm the second place winner of the middle school essay category. Think of those without. It's so easy in a place where freedom is expected to take the life you've been given as an unchanging picture that fails to move or shift no matter where you travel. But in some places, people have been branded by the lack of liberation and the hate they have been granted, where you must fight for what you have every single minute, afraid it will be taken, that it will slip away. But we don't know this life in America today. We are very lucky, for we have the First Amendment, which gives us all our rights and lets us be independent. You can see it in religion, speech, laws, and press, in petitions for a redress to satisfy your grievances. So here's the proof that we are lucky, that the First Amendment matters. Just put yourself in other shoes and imagine a life without it. Imagine if you weren't allowed to voice your own opinion, every thought kept to yourself. All you can do is listen. Or let the ink flow from your pen to tell how the world is doing. What would be the truth if it's not the writer speaking? Imagine if you couldn't gather to protest in peace. Would history be the present, segregation still in place? People couldn't make new laws or change the ones they hate. Life would be futile, gifting rights to only the few. And what would it be like, believing the same as every person? Going to their church to pray, repeating the same verses. But you can't say you won't because speech is regulated. The law cannot be changed because there are no petitions. You wouldn't have the right to argue, verbally or through the press, or peaceably assemble to discuss what to do next. And if you think about that and let it sink in, you will realize truly how great your life has been. For me, it brings a whole new meaning to the land of the free, that race isn't always the key to diversity. Because even if I lived among all who look the same, my life would be diverse, with thoughts and opinions that aren't tamed. And maybe that's the real meaning to the home of the brave, for it takes a lot of courage to create a place that great. So treasure what you've got, but don't forget those who are chained by the laws that were created to keep everyone the same. Because chains can be unlocked and laws can be changed to bring everyone an amendment and the freedom without pain. So one day you won't have to step into their shoes and feel sorry for the fact that they aren't free like you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lucille Varga, and I am a student at Glenbrook North. I am the second place winner in the high school category. Since I was a little girl, I have been taught about our First Amendment right and our freedom in this wonderful country we call home. But what made me understand the most about this right that we as Americans have was not that sheet of paper my fifth grade teacher made me memorize about all the amendments, but the impact that it had not only on my family, but millions of people that make up this country. My parents fled Romania and from religious persecution when they were my age. As a result, I can now live in a country that allows me to practice my beliefs. Freedom to me is being able to profess my faith publicly without being put in jail. Freedom to me is not having to stuff my windows with pillows in order for people not to hear me pray. Freedom to me is being able to express my ideas, thoughts, and emotions without having a fear of being betrayed by someone I trust. And yet lately, I feel like this freedom is crumbling because we as a nation are not united. A piece of paper means nothing if the citizens do not stand under one belief that each and every one of us deserves this freedom, no matter what background, religion, or race they are. I made this piece as an awareness to the discord and turmoil that is occurring in our country currently. People are fighting against each other when they should be fighting for the freedom of all. I use watercolor to portray Lady Liberty as a stronghold, a rock that many people base their lives on. I also put together a collage of little pieces of paper forming the sides of the mountain to represent that each and every one of us make up this country, and if we are not united, represented by the crumbling rocks that are unattaching themselves from the mountain, the whole mountain will fall apart. I painted Lady Liberty with a look of despair on her face to portray the severity of the situation. My background was also a collage that I put together of various words that I thought represented America, but that were masked by black acrylic paint to represent the cancer that has gripped many people's thinking into believing that some people are less worthy of liberty than others. I hazed an American flag on top of my background with chalk pastels to show that there's still hope for Americans to wake up and do something about our situation. Finally, I wrote on my piece, One Nation, to question how seriously we take our pledge to be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, my name is Anna Zrnic. I come from Penoyer School in Norridge, Illinois, and I'm the second place winner for the middle school art category. My drawing is about a girl who is thinking about all the things the First Amendment has to offer. She wants to find a way about stating her opinion. The drawing classifies about how the First Amendment gives you the freedom to discuss your opinion in any way. She is thinking about giving either a speech, about making a petition, having an assembly, the rights to believe in any religion, or to write a press.
Okay, can we hear it one more time for all of the winners this evening? We are so humbled by all of your art, your words, and your personal stories. Our wish for you is that you continue to pursue your talents for art, for writing throughout your lives, and that you never forget about the importance of the First Amendment in your lives. And now, with that, I'd like to call up one of ADL's development co-chairs, my friend Aaron Hammer. Where are you, Aaron? Oh, hi. Come on up.
Thank you, Keith. My name's Aaron Hammer. I have the pleasure of representing my law firm, Sugar, Felsenthal, Grace & Hammer, as well as the great privilege of serving on the ADL's board, as well as its co-director of development. Co-director of development means sort of business development for those professionals out there. We are the fundraisers of the ADL, and what a privilege it is to represent the ADL specifically in these times. I'm thankful for this opportunity to represent the ADL before you tonight, not only because Lonnie and Keith have been such good mentors in my professional development of understanding and learning how to individualize causes such as those that the ADL represents, and it's been so important to my personal development to be part of your team. So thank you, and thank Keith for that. It's also wonderful to be here tonight because we have the restructuring crowd in attendance, Jack and Keith and everyone here tonight that's come out to support Jack and John, to stand before you tonight, not only as a member of the ADL, but also the restructuring community is a great, great privilege. My role tonight is to lead the appeal. And tonight the appeal is, we're dialing for dollars, let's be honest, but tonight the appeal is critically important because if there's one thing Jack Butler taught me, it's you want to win, baby. And of all the dinners that ADL has done, this dinner tonight stands to raise the most money for ADL in its history of our regional board. And there's a small little gap, and for whatever reason, I was given the opportunity to help us close that gap. And to be honest, I'm not necessarily the person that is so generous at events like this. And most normally, I'm a guest, right? So I'm a guest here, not tonight. Tonight, my firm is a table sponsor, but I'm a guest here tonight, and like many of you, and we're here for dinner. We're here to enjoy the amazing student essays and art projects that is the centerpiece of the Freedom Award dinner, let's be honest. But we're also here to raise money for ADL, and let's not forget that. ADL is an organization that stands up for what is right. And I don't know where you were on Tuesday night, but I think the ADL's mission is increasingly important. It's probably never more important than it is today. So I'm gonna start tonight out with a personal pledge from my wife Fiona and I, and we're going to kick this off. We got to raise 20 grand, right now. And Fiona and I are going to pledge 5 to start it off, which means we got 15 grand to go. We already covered 25% of the nut, so let's raise $15,000 tonight. If you're here as a guest, if you're here as a friend of someone, help us out. Do what you can. And here's how it's going to work. Okay. Text to pledge. Here's the script. I finally got on script. Text to pledge has enabled you, the donor, to make a donation straight from your phone. By following simple steps, you can contribute any amount to ADL right now, and your pledge will be seen on the screen. So not only do you have the opportunity to contribute to ADL, but you also have the opportunity to be recognized for that contribution. Let's hope it works. So, text Freedom 2016 to 41444, 41444, right? Enter your dollar amount and name, and you'll see the thermometer on the screen update with your donation. Okay, so one more time. You text 41444, 41444. You text Freedom 2016 to 41444 with the amount of your donation. So we need to raise 20 grand. Fifi and I got 5, which means we got to raise 15 grand. So let's start. If there's 150 people here that contribute $100 each, we're golden, right? We got and listen, and you know we want to beat these quantitative metrics here. So we got 5. Jeff Goodman, thank you very much, my friend. I have a lot of friends in the audience tonight, restructuring folks. Help me out here. You know, listen, I'm struggling right now. If you're not my friend, what better way to become my friend? If you're not my friend, what better way to become my friend than contributing tonight? We're struggling a little bit. Getting up there, 786. All right, so one more time. Text to 41444, Freedom 2016 with your dollar amount. $100 from each of you, and we're done. I'm not getting down till we raise 15 grand. So, I don't know. Anyone got any good jokes? Normally, I'm more engaging. This isn't necessarily my thing, but let's keep going. Let me tell you what every dollar does for the ADL. So, for $3 grand, $3 grand is all it takes to train. Wow. How about that? $3 grand trains 25 teachers to use ADL's anti-bias program in their classrooms. Oh, that just like that? Bang? All right, let's keep going. Let's raise the goal. 30 grand. Come on. I'm not done. I'm not giving up this stage. $1,000 sends a high school junior to the ADL National Youth Leadership Mission in Washington, D.C. $250 trains one high school peer trainer to be a leader and voice against bullying in his or her school. I don't know about you all, but I was bullied an awful lot in school when I was a young sprout. And if the ADL was there, you know, I might have turned out a little different, maybe a little better. But in fact, it wasn't. I mean, Lonnie was just my classmate at the time, and we were just struggling through Highland Park High School at the time. And, you know, it turned out all right. Wow. My friends, thank you so much. We're not done. Come on, sit. We're not done. We gotta, give me 2 more minutes to just drivel on. It's working. Don't quit now. Come on, Lonnie. We broke the record. Thank you, Jack and John. If anyone, I mean, how could you not love tonight? The student essays and the art projects are just remarkable. It's just inspirational what Keith and Lonnie and Jack and John have done tonight. This is a room packed with people that we know and we love, we consider our friends. And, you know, we just couldn't be happier to be in this position right now. The dollars that you give to ADL right now, well, let's be honest. Many of us did financially, 2017 is going to be great. Let's give a little bit of that back to ADL. Let's give a little bit back to ADL. Let's give it to Lonnie to put to good use. And he's going to do it because we got faith in Lonnie and ADL, and thank you for the opportunity. 2,300, maybe 25. Can we get 25? Maybe. Stage is yours. Thank you, everyone.
Aaron is now hired as a development professional for ADL. That's fabulous. Hi, everybody. I'm Lonnie Nassiter, and I have the privilege of being the regional director for the ADL. It has been a magical night, but there's just a little bit more to come. I want to thank Aaron. Thank you all for your terrific support tonight. Your support of the dinner ultimately goes to having the positive impact that we've seen tonight and that you've heard about throughout the night. Thank you so much. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the two men that we are really ultimately here for outside of our terrific student essay and art winners, and that's Jack and John. I had the privilege of working with them the last 18 months, and there's a real reason why we just broke the best record that we've ever had for the Freedom Dinner. It's because of who they are. There's a Yiddish word called a mensch, and I think that is a perfect, apt description of both of them. They live a life filled with humor, with love. They give back to community. They care about their family. They care about community. They care about religion. And they care ultimately about the safekeeping and ultimately the well-being of everybody in this room and throughout. And so the reason why we are so successful tonight really truly is a reflection on them and the way that they live their life.
And without further ado, it is my privilege to present the Anti-Defamation League's 2016 Jerold S. Solovy Freedom Award to a truly dynamic couple, Jack Butler and John Vanderlinden.
Wow. I have nothing prepared to say other than, gosh, I don't know who those guys are up there, but honestly, we're deeply honored by this recognition and couldn't be prouder of us, of our family. It's wonderful to have our family here, our friends, and old friends and new to celebrate this and kind of cherish and admire the good work that the ADL does and what they stand for, even more now than before. So for us and for our kids, all of you guys out there, thank you very much.
So we told Lonnie we weren't going to prepare any remarks, and he sighed and said, "Thank you, Jack." So I'll be brief, but just a couple of comments that I do want to share. First of all, thank you all for participating. Thank you for supporting ADL. Thank you for your time here, but also thank you for your money. It's important. And the thing that I wanted to say that, I want to thank the people that are also not in the room. If you look around, this room is full. There's 45 tables here, and it's great to have you here. But believe it or not, there were 45 more tables of people who made contributions to this dinner and who turned their tables back, in part to let the students and other people be here. So there were actually 90 tables sold for the dinner tonight. Pretty amazing. So thank all of you very much. Now, we're not going to embarrass them, and we promised we wouldn't drag them up on the stage, but we are going to ask our 4 kids to stand up. Okay, guys, thank you. We want to acknowledge them. And then, just, it's hard not to stand here, 2 days after the election, and for a guy like me not to say something. So I'm going to offer a personal reflection. It's been an interesting 3 days for me. Tuesday night, I was in the River Pavilion room at the Javits Center in New York City with a lot of the other Democratic leadership and fundraisers waiting there were about 500-600 of us waiting to go down to join the other 30,000 people so that Hillary would come onto the stage and say something. And as the Electoral College map kept getting redder and redder, it became pretty clear that wasn't going to happen. You can imagine this was the leadership and the leading staff members who spent 18 months of their lives preparing for this, and some of the other fundraisers. You can imagine how the sentiment in that room changed. And at 2:30 in the morning, I took the 7 train, to the 6 train back to my hotel to hear Donald Trump's acceptance speech after Hillary conceded, followed by Hillary's speech and the president's speech 10 or 12 hours later. And then we come to this dinner, right, where we come to celebrate freedom and listen to the kids here. And the reflection I really want to offer is one that sort of says, words do matter. I think the words that have been said the last 48 hours are important. I am personally, I'm kind of a politics wonk. I went to the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton. I believe in a constitutional democracy. And I happen to believe, while I may have been disappointed and some others may have been disappointed in this room at what happened on Tuesday, we're all Americans first. We have a single president-elect. It's our job to support that president-elect and to move the country forward. And that's what makes this country what it is. So great. So it was great to be here with you tonight. Great to hear the kids and the freedom things they talked about. Thank you very much.
Well, friends, it is just about 8:55, and I want you all to know that ADL has done it again. Our agenda had the event closing at 8:55. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for being here every year. Jack and John, congratulations. Drive safely, and good night.